to you by Cantex Roofing. I'm Clint Scott. He's Rob Bro.
Basketball.
Gimme the rock because I'm gonna dunk it. Woo!
It's a basketball episode.
It's a basketball episode.
Red Raider basketball is almost wrapped up with the non-conference schedule. The last one before Big 12 play is a home game against Winthrop. It's been a tough non-con schedule that's seen up and down results. The Red Raiders are ranked 15th in the AP Top 25 and 9-3 overall. They've lost to Illinois, Purdue, and Arkansas, but are fresh off their best win of the season, an 82-81 win over Duke at Madison Square Garden. JT Toppin and Christian Anderson were the two top stars coming into the season and have certainly produced in that manner. Toppin is averaging a double-double, leading the Red Raiders in points and rebounds with 21.6 points and 10.5 rebounds per game. He's also averaging just over a steal and a block per outing. Anderson has made a massive step in year two, averaging 19.9 points and 7.3 assists per game. He's averaged 23.5 points over the last four contests. Lawan Watts was a key name added through the portal. Just like the Red Raiders, he's had an up and down season, but has scored in double figures in 5 of the last 6 games. He had one of the most impressive outings this year from anyone in a win over Northern Colorado, scoring 36 points while going 12 of 13 from the field. As a whole, the offense has been as advertised, scoring just over 83 points per game, while defensively there's room for improvement. They're currently tied at 205th in the country, giving up 74.5 points per game. We've learned plenty about the Red Raiders so far this season, but with Big 12 play just around the corner, it seems like they're just scratching the surface on their potential.
All right, Clint, what a ride we've had so far in football season. It is not over. We still have more to talk about in the football world, but We've been putting off these basketball episodes, and quite frankly, after what we saw this weekend, we just cannot push it any further. Texas Tech, Madison Square Garden, the Duke Blue Devils, down by 17 in the second half. Lawan Watts fouls out with 11 minutes to go. Leon Horner fouls out. Toppin has 4 fouls. Christian Anderson goes Keenan Evans and takes over the game late, scoring. Just what a ride.
It makes zero sense that you won that game. I'm going to be frank. Especially when you look at your other ranked games that you've played and how you've lost them, where, Illinois was a close one. I thought that was our first sign of a really good offensive showcase for Lawan Watts, and he's been a little inconsistent if you look at the season as a whole. But if you look recent, and I want to get into this in a little bit, that has not been the case at all. But then also you look at how you lose to Arkansas, another close one that you just can't find that last gear late. And that was with almost a full arsenal for your roster and availability. And then we don't really have to talk about the Purdue one at all. We don't have to look back at that one at all. But if you're looking at those 3 ranked losses, it makes zero sense that this is the one that you were able to pull out, because Duke, they're one of the longest teams in the country. They're one of the biggest teams in the country. And then when you add in specifically where you are already down Luke Bamboye, and then, your size that's also just young and also injured when you put in like Mosley and a Quintok, all of those guys that you are without, the deck was already stacked against you. And then you get into the game and then you're losing size because of fouls and losing them rapidly, and you're in a 17-point hole. It makes zero sense that this is the ranked win that you were able to get. But then you look at the Grant McCasland effect. And this is the first time, I feel like over his first 2 seasons, there's been a game that just something has flipped on. And it's like, there's the Grant McCasland effect. There's the Grant McCasland team. Last year, it happened in Big 12 play early on. This year, because you've played a tougher schedule, you've gone through some of those ups and downs, and I'm not saying it's going to be just smooth sailing from here on out, but it feels like that was your Grant McCasland DNA flipping of the switch. Like, that was a Grant McCasland team. That was Grant McCasland effort. That was Grant McCasland style. It doesn't matter if Nolan Groves hasn't played significant minutes in quite a few games. He's going to go be Boozer's worst nightmare and find ways to contribute. And then you also add in, well, you have 2 superstars doing superstar type things. I don't love that recipe, but when you needed it, you got it. And I just think that was a win that was impressive in so many ways, and hopefully pointing to you're going to be able to do that in Big 12 play because it's about to get real.
If you allow me to take just a step back here, because I think the magnitude of this game only grows by looking into what you've done the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And you took you through the ranked games. But even some of these non-ranked matchups, especially this Northern Colorado one where you give up 90-plus points and it's just a dogfight to the end. Did you hear Grant McCaslin in the pregame for Duke in the availability he had?
Mm-hmm.
Not what he said, but you just hear him. Not listen, hear. His voice was fried.
Yeah.
And whenever you hear Grant McCaslin, he hadn't had a game in a week and his voice is gone. It's not because he's sick, right? They've been practicing their asses off. So, family show, my bad. So I do think that Grant McCaslin had a come to Jesus moment, and it felt like it in the beginning minutes of that Duke game, and certainly at the end. And it's not like it went away in the middle, but that start and finish is so, like you said, Grant McCaslin, just the grit of it. But this is a team that is really good on offense. Top 15 in the country offensively on KenPom. They're bad defensively and have been.
Mm-hmm.
64th on KenPom, which I guess when you say it like that, it's like, well, it's not 300th, right? You're not historically bad on defense, but this is a bad Big 12 defense at 64th in the country. Certainly not top 5 in the conference like you want to be.
Well, it's odd to see and to have been watching a Grant McCaslin team that was like this because that's always what you're going to emphasize first. And he has built some terrific offenses already in the first couple of years, and this one, like you're saying, is no different. But the identity is always defending and always making it hard on the opposition. And if you told me, hey, you were going to be in the Big 12 really like sensationally good on one side and pretty flat on the other one, in the Big 12 you take defense over offense every single time because you know what you're about to hit. And that's what has been alarming because so far, again, you have seen the progression of the first two teams that Grant McCaslin has built here. And so it's like you knew that you weren't incapable of it, but for some reason this year, just when you add in some of the injuries that you've had, and again, when you're looking at, I think sometimes the size issue, and maybe that's a little bit of flashback of last year where sometimes you struggled against the bigger teams. Like there was, will this be an off year for that? And are you going to have to consistently go outscore Big 12 opponents, which is that's just no way to live when you're at least trying to live at the top of the Big 12 and you're trying to battle Houston and Iowa State and Arizona and Kansas and all of these teams that are good defending teams and also potent on offense. That's not a survivable way to play basketball. And so this was a massive step forward because that's a Duke team that 100% can win it all this year. That is a team that I think is a lock to make a deep run in the tournament. A great chance that they win the ACC, a great chance that they're fighting for a 1 seed or a 2 seed, all of the things that you want to be doing in your own conference. And the way that you made them look like they quit in that game, and they didn't quit, you just defended well and did things that were frustrating, but you made it look like they quit. And it's like you shocked them, and it is shocking. I mean, that was a comeback that you haven't seen against Duke since 2007 in the way that you did it. That's how far back you have to go in Duke's recent history to find a comeback like that. And you did that in foul trouble, in size trouble, and against a Duke team that I thought Shire's plan against Christian Anderson in the first half worked. And it was a really good one, and I think that's something I think that was great to see because that's something he's going to run into consistently in the Big 12. And he has Purdue tried to do it too. But we're just like, okay, you can't have Christian Anderson and JT Toppin both beat you. You have to take somebody away. Who are you going to take away a little bit easier? And then when that player is the one that's circled, can they respond? And Christian Anderson did that in just a massive way. So it's just, I could just ramble on and on and on about the performance and just what it took to win that game and to beat that Duke team. But the end result was your biggest win of the season. The end result jumps you up to 15 in the AP Top 25. And you're looking at who in the Big 12. I mean, there's not a team in the Big 12 you can't beat. We know that now, for sure. Pin it down.
Yeah, I think Arizona's maybe still probably better than Duke.
I know. I
can't beat. Yes, I understand.
It's a stout league for
it's
a
in
reason.
There. It's in there
because hopefully you're still improving from this, right?
Yes.
Like maybe you're seeing more minutes from Leon Horner. Maybe Nolan Groves has worked his way back in the rotation.
Put a pin in that.
Pin in it.
Put a pin in that. Final thought on the non-con before we really dive into the Duke game. Top 25 strength of record, strength of schedule. That is not how you've performed, just scheduling-wise in the past. The 25th strength of schedule going into this gauntlet, you're going to have a top 15 schedule, and that's going to do a lot for you come seeding time.
It will pay dividends.
You went 1-3 against ranked teams. You're 2-3 against top 40 teams. LSU's in there. You hammered them. You're in a good spot. You're in a really good spot right now. At 15th in the country, and even with those 3 losses, you're in a really good spot. Pull the pin.
Is that
Should we put the pin?
What sound would you make?
Should we pin?
You call it a cat?
No, I think it's a... Well, that's more like a water. I'm pulling like a grenade. Yeah, like a grenade pin.
Oh.
What pin were you pulling?
Like you put a pin on the board, like here's this piece of paper, and you're like, I'm sticking with. So put the pin back in it for just a second, right?
So should we put the? Well, I want to put the pin till the end. That's the last question I want to ask.
Okay.
Can we go just player by player?
Yes.
In the Duke game, JT Toppin was JT Toppin.
Agreed.
His 2 offensive rebounds were maybe the 2 biggest offensive rebounds in the game, both coming like the last 5 minutes. The putback that tied the game at, 71? 74? One of those. That was a massive moment because he just hadn't had it yet. And that's such a big part of his game. 19-10 JT Toppin was, as advertised, going up against Cam Boozer. And defensively in the last 5 minutes, couldn't do much, but was still out there competing.
I think you saw maturity in that because I will just say this. There were some ticky-tack stuff called that I, nor anybody rooting for the Red Raiders, loved. That's how basketball works. You're going to run into games like that. I thought you saw a bunch of maturity from JT Toppin finding a way to be just as effective as he had been all game long while also staying in it when you saw a couple guys just drop back-to-back that you needed.
Yeah.
Or it felt like you were going to need anyways. And for him to come in and have massive minutes, have some sort of effect defensively, but also make sure that he's not leaving the court in that final important stretch was very mature of him, and that's what you expect out of a guy like JT Toppin. And it's just so much easier said than done when you're running through all those numbers and what he did. But it's the same time, you're like, yeah, that was JT Toppin. That's what he does. He does things like that.
I'm going to put these 2 guys together. Donovan Atwell and Jalen Petty both play over 30 minutes. Donovan Atwell didn't leave the court. 5 points apiece. I think Donovan Atwell used to shoot more.
Mm-hmm.
4 rebounds, an assist, a steal. Both played solid defense. I would give both those guys a solid grade if we're grading them out. Nothing special, but those 2 guys certainly played their roles. And Jalen Petty just, again, hits a big shot in a big moment.
Yes, and Jalen Petty is a spark plug type of player. He's also like, we hear all these like descriptions from coaches and you're like a junkyard dog. Like he's all of those things wrapped into one, and he hasn't even remotely scratched the surface of what he can turn into as a basketball player.
Yeah.
But I think he's already ahead of what we thought as far as like big time shots and big time moments, things like that. It's not the first one that he's hit. He's hit some like in a loss too, but still like he is not afraid of the moment, and he's also got the skill to back it up. Donovan Atwell, almost turned into one of those players like he had a fairly quiet night, but just didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
In a game that you really couldn't afford to do too many things wrong.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to finish with the big three, other than Toppin. But I have two more groups. One a solo and one a duo. I'm going to start with the negative.
So Sharon, salt, and pepper.
Yep.
Okay.
Tyree Bryan playing 3 minutes, the first 3 minutes of the game, and not returning was an indictment on where he is right now on this roster. Jalen Petty has obviously passed him as the other guard. But to be in that kind of foul trouble and to not put him back into this game, it's either an injury that we didn't notice or he is just benched.
I can tell you the last straw, because it's at that 17-minute mark, and he's with help side defense. He's in the paint. He's under the basket. You swing it over to the corner, and it's just a horrible closeout. Half-hearted pump fake, drives right around him, fools him the whole time, and you can just see it. There wasn't a scream or anything. You can just see he's done for at least a little bit. And I say that because we knew that going into the game that, and I don't want to turn this into like hammer Tyree Bryan or anything, but there's no way around it.
Yeah.
When you're in the media availability and Coach McCaslin is saying like, we either need to step it up or we're going to find guys who want to defend. The offense is going to be fine. This is clearly something that we need to fix. We have other guys we can try. We're going to keep giving them opportunities until we figure this out. And I think everybody and their dog knew he was talking about Tyree Bryan first.
Yeah.
And he wasn't the only thing that needed to be fixed defensively, and you're still trying to work on. But the perimeter defense especially has just been woeful. And that was the moment where I was wondering going into this game, okay, is this really going to be the one that you tested? And that was a resounding yes. Like, you weren't waiting for Winthrop. It was against the third-ranked Blue Devils in a Christmas season special, Madison Square Garden. If you're a college basketball fan, you're probably tuning into that game. And, man, it was, you're pulling it here. And the more fouls that you racked up, I'm with you. I was like, okay, well, is he coming back in now? Is he coming back in now? And it just never happened. And so I don't know what the rest of his season looks like, but clearly that is a doghouse situation.
Body language, he's celebrating.
Yeah,
he's engaged, but he's not going to play, it looks like, right now. Okay. The next group, the duo, Groves and Horner. A little bit differently, but Groves... But let's start with Horner. Horner comes in and gets 3 quick fouls, just playing dog defense.
Yeah.
And they told him to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, go in and play as hard as you physically can. That's a guy trying to earn minutes.
Yeah.
And Groves was the same way. The last 10 minutes of this game, he was glued to Cameron Boozer. And Cameron Boozer still affected the game, but you could tell he was frustrated with the little weasel that was following him around.
Yeah. Okay, if you're Cameron Boozer, right, and you're a potential...
by the way, Nolan Grove's not a small guy.
No, potential number 1 pick.
Yes.
And you're looking at a game that you've already had a tremendous outing and in a lot of ways have controlled the game in that second half before the comeback and late in the first half when Duke finally takes the lead, all of the things that he did that were what you expect from Cameron Boozer. And you're going, boy, we've got them buried right now. And then you see Nolan Groves coming to defend you, and that's the matchup. If I'm Cameron Boozer, I'm like, I'm going to score 40 tonight.
Yeah. Give me the ball.
Without knowing anything about Nolan Groves, I'm going to score 40 points tonight. Let me run this.
That's like,
and he just said, like, I don't care what the size differential is. I don't care the massive upside you have as a future pro and what you've already done in college basketball this year, and made life hell for him. It was incredible.
Have you seen the John Sally clip where he's talking about Larry Bird? And he's like, Larry came up to me. He's like, you guard me? And he's like, yeah. He's like, no help? No, it's just me. All right. Like, that's what I thought Cameron Boozer was going to do. Like, oh, it's just you? Now, there was a bunch of help.
Sure.
They swarmed Cameron Boozer.
Which is what you needed
in
to do.
the final 10 minutes. It was beautiful. But just the effort. And you can see that. Mm-hmm. That's a game you look at the box score, and if you didn't watch the game, you'd say, why in the world did Nolan Groves get 13 minutes? 0 for 2 from the field, both deep. 1 rebound. It's an offensive rebound and 3 fouls. What was he doing out there? He was playing his butt off is what he was doing.
Mm-hmm. That felt like to the other side of that message that Coach McCaslin sent, there was the response.
Yep. And from both of them.
And all you've heard about is from both of those guys is their effort and how hard they're working. But sometimes, like, if you're not in practice, but I mean, that's what you want your coach to say about the team, right? He's probably not going to say all the bad things that are happening specifically in practice. He'll answer him about like the game. Like, that's just how coaches' answers work, right? And I think McCaslin is very honest. There's some that hide it more than others. But I thought both of those guys, you can see that's what he has been talking about. And also, there was the answer to the challenge. Those are two guys that want to be in the lineup and are trying to show that they can make an effect in the lineup consistently, and certainly did against Duke.
Can I take a small detour?
Small detour.
First detour. McCaslin and Beard have both this season been dealing with similar things. Effort on the floor, defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been paying attention at all to Beard lately?
The last time I heard him speak was at the press conference when he cut off the player and was like, maybe we're going to play different guys.
So he's done that. Mm-hmm. And how his team has responded to him and how McCaslin's team responded to him, night and day.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to be a fan of Grant McCaslin's team. All right, the final two we're going to talk about, let's start with Lawan Watts. Hot start. Scores 6 of the first 9 points. And he is really...
Plus had the assist on the Christian Anderson.
Plus had the assist. Mm-hmm. He was involved in the first 9 points of the game. 9-0 run. He was struggling to find his role early, I think, as the third guy in this offense. And he had no clue what he was doing defensively. McCaslin in the press conference said that he was doing solo defense work every day, doing his drills, and you've noticed that. But what's unlocked his defense is his command of the offense, I think. His aggressiveness, and I'm going to use that word again in a few minutes, his aggressiveness on the offensive end and shooing people away and isolating guys on the block and getting his shot. I don't always love how he finishes because he looks for contact a lot, but I understand that's the game of basketball now. His aggressiveness offensively has turned into something defensively, and he's playing that way on both sides of the floor now. And going back to the LSU game, and then the Northern Colorado game, you don't win that one without him probably. This is a really good stretch from Lawan Watts. And it feels like, do you remember Bryson Williams? People wanted to cut him from the team after the non-con. Biggest bust of all time. Awful, right? He was darn near the Big 12 Player of the Year in Big 12 play. I think Lawan Watts can go on that kind of trajectory. He wasn't as bad in the non-con, but he is unlocking something, and I think he's going to go on a real run.
The more that you hit, I'm gonna break something to you. I know you don't know this.
Break news.
The more that you hit on transfers and the better you do with transfers, the more we expect them to be great day one. Uh-huh. And sometimes it takes chemistry. Sometimes you're just going to miss on guys that you thought were going to be a big part of the roster. And the other side of it, too, is like for Lawan Watts that has had some very nice production coming into the year. Well, there's still a jump, and I know you haven't even gotten into Big 12 play yet, but where you've seen some of his struggles at times have been some of the better competition. And he is learning not only his role in the offense, but also just, how to play against some of the better defenses. And that sometimes takes a little bit. And when you look at the last 6-game stretch, and he's been in double figures in 5 of them, he's also shot just under 50%, which is telling you 49.1% from the field. He's finding his way on the block, and I think that this is important because you have 3 guys right now that have the ability to play with their own pace. It's Christian Anderson, it's JT Toppin, and it's Lawan Watts. They all have vastly different games. Well, if you can have that third player that you can go to that can do that, that is where you become an unstoppable offense. And it's by playing with his own pace, it's not just scoring. It's not just those really effective, hey, I'm at the block, I'm either going to be stronger than you, or here's a pump fake, and now I have a shot right here at the glass. It's also finding when that shot's not there, and how do we keep the offense going. And I think that's something that he has pieced together, and that's where you've seen the improvement, because when he was starting through those first 5 games, right, and it was sometimes inconsistent, we're going, this is the guy we got, well, he was getting sped up too much, and that's when he was forcing himself into bad decisions. And maybe at times, I think that this could be a description for the team as a whole. Sometimes taking ill-advised threes just to get a shot up, because things were going in a frustrating way. And I think you've seen him work out a lot of those kinks. And I also think that's a guy that's not anywhere near what his ceiling can be individually. Certainly nearer than Jalen Petty, like when we're talking about him, because he's more raw. But he's a guy that has shown you a lot of great things over this last stretch, but he can still be even better, which would also take a load off of when you're going into the discussion of, okay, are we taking away JT Toppin or Christian Anderson? Well, now you have to worry about him consistently as well, too. So it is also very important that you get that out of Lawan Watts, the way this roster has been constructed.
Final player, Christian Anderson. He is everything that we wanted him to be this year. He's turning into it. And I want to go back to the A word, aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
He was the alpha at Dickies Arena.
Yeah.
He's been the alpha at times. You look at this roster and you say JT Toppin, Big 12 Player of the Year, he's the alpha. At Northern Colorado, it was Lawan Watts was the alpha. For this team to beat Duke, for this team to beat Arizona, Houston, those 2 players, Toppin and Watts, have to be great. But Christian Anderson has to be the alpha on this team.
He is the first one that needs to run the offense. He also, I think, has shown, this is where some of his growth as a young player has come, his attitude towards the game. I'm saying like, oh, he had a bad attitude. No, like the team is, I'm going to embody the team, and the team is going to respond to me on both sides of the floor. And I totally agree with you, because he was such an important piece to make sure that he was here when you were looking at big decisions with the roster in the offseason, and it was because you were picking him to run the offense. And there were a lot of Elijah Hawkins like references at the start of the season. Well, he's not doing this. He's not doing this. Well, he's doing different things than what Hawkins was. He was a one-of-one, which is funny, in the game of basketball today as a pure, I can score, but I'm here to facilitate the offense. I'm here to make everybody better, but not necessarily always find my own shot. Christian Anderson is coming in to take on a lot more, because he is a future NBA guy that is going to be having this. He's going to have the same exact sort of thing thrown at him. Can you do this at the next level? And that's what's going to make or break him as a pro, probably. That's probably what would be that deciding factor. And so far, he has shown you that he can do that. And I also think in the Big 12, every single team needs that, like what I call last second shot guy. Sometimes it's a guy that is maybe more of a wing and just like that superstar, Andrew Wiggins type of guy that everybody and their dog knows that's who you're going to. Sometimes, more times than not, it's the guard. It's that guy that's already controlling the offense anyways and can also score. And if he can score it at a high clip and shoot from the outside like Christian Anderson can do, it makes him that much more dangerous. But he's also driven. He's got to the rim a lot over this last stretch. The same improvement we've seen with Lawan Watts. He's done a ton of nice things that have been a little bit different. And I think if you add that dimension to his offense, which we know he can do and he has done, again, that makes it where, okay, we can't just run him off the three-point line now.
Yeah.
And it really does turn into the only way we can stop him is if we don't let him get the ball back once it leaves his hands.
Yeah.
Which also in the second half, I thought he did a tremendous job against Duke of losing some defenders and then hitting insanely tough shots.
The 3 steal turnover, 3
Yeah.
back to back, 3 straight possessions. That's what you need. All right, ready?
Right.
I didn't like it. I'm trying to do it.
This is the first time I've ever thought about what do I think a pin sounds like getting taken out of a wall or and I just feel like we're over.
That was like air releasing. Wrong air. Wrong air.
Pull a pin out of what?
Yeah, that's right. I think you stepped on a frog. All right. I think Texas Tech, over the last 2 weeks, has proven they have a big 3.
Yes.
I think Watts has stepped up. I think Anderson is finding some consistency, and Toppin is top. Do you have the 4th piece in Petty or Atwell? Do you have the 5th starter that can give you quality minutes consistently? Do you have another body defensively in Horner or Groves? My question that I put a pin in earlier that I want to pull now. Was the win over Duke a one-off McCaslin special, or did you learn enough things in that game to be able to replicate that success?
I would like to replicate the ending result, but in a much different way. And I think this is what I'm looking at, because I think where you grew, and this is why you have Groves on the floor and Horner getting more minutes. But yes, you grew from that entire game, but you specifically grew from the last 10 minutes of it. And I think that you can certainly replicate that type of effort, right? Mm-hmm. You can replicate that, and this is where it gets just, they almost get like brainwashed in a way, in a good way, of like, we can win any game. It does not matter how far we're down, and you can circle back to this, hey, you remember when we were at Madison Square Garden, we're losing by 17, and everybody was fouling out, and we were already injured too, and we came back and we won that one by 1 point. Well, hey, this is at Houston, and we're only down by 4, and there's 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And so that's something you can circle back to, but I also think, yes, you can replicate the effort. We've seen you be able to replicate the scoring of your big 3, and we've seen we've seen Atwell be a killer from the outside. Yeah. If you lose him, absolutely. And so, yes, there's a lot of things that I think you can replicate through the Big 12 season, and also you're going to have to. It would be awesome to have Luke Bamboye back in the rotation sooner than later. It would be awesome to see Mosley, our first look at him at some point. And even then, I'm not sure what the minute count is on him. But that's just to have even more depth, because I think if you can get Leon Horner going and you can get him consistently where you're getting positive minutes, and you get Nolan Groves in there with a fantastic plus-minus every time, even if he's not affecting scorer, that's something that will go a long ways and something that you're going to need when you face Big 12 opponents. And I hope Tyler Bryan, I hope there's some way, if he can dig himself out of whatever the hole is on the roster over there, that's going to be a good thing too, because he is an experienced player. He can hit shots. He's and I think this is the whole issue. He's good enough to make an impact defensively.
Yeah.
So that's something else that we're like ruling out. Like we're never going to see him again. I'm not completely ruling that out.
Right.
But clearly there needs to be some sort of improvement from, I would assume, even practice till we even get to game action. But yes, I'm circling all the way around your answer to say yes. That is something that you can do again in Big 12 play.
Effort is replicatable.
Yes.
Repeatable. Okay. Final thoughts on anything we've talked about? Because I have an outfield question. I have a fan question of the week for you.
Just a real quick circle back to Christian Anderson, because I wanted to say this. Pretty good. Christian Anderson is not just a guy that can be a go-to guy. I'm telling you, the numbers he is putting up and his ability, the other thing that he has answered, I think a few people, maybe, certainly anybody that saw it, like in the Big 12, that was like, oh, I'm pro whoever my guy is. That's an All-American type of player. You have 2 All-American talents on your roster right now. Put it in drive, and I'm going back. After circling back. Thank you.
Okay, you ready for the fan question of the week?
Yep.
Clint, Rob, do you like the idea of potentially adding a G League or European player to the roster mid-season? BYU has just added a G League player. He's available this week, I believe. Since the first semester has finished, we are in the second semester. So, I know Texas Tech was linked to a G League guy. I don't know that they are anymore. Some European players coming over. Philosophically, I think we both have one answer, but
philosophically, it doesn't make any sense.
I mean,
the G League guy is literally playing a level above college basketball. It doesn't make any sense.
And he played in not only in the G League but the Canadian basketball.
Yeah, it bothers me to no end. But if it would help you and you're playing by the rules, 100%. It's like whenever we first saw, I'm about to be old man yelling at clouds over here. When we first saw the first wave of the transfer portal, plus how NIL was working, where everybody was asking for everything, and the NCAA just finally was like, here, just have everything. There's no rules. And they're like, oh, maybe we should have put some parameters on some of this stuff. And there were some things that just like hey, I can be here for a year and I'm gone, doesn't really matter. Thanks for helping me out. I'm out of here though. I'm, a bag chaser or whatever. I think absolutely players should get paid. We could go right back into this. But like the same sort of stuff that bothered me about that first wave, I still felt like, yes, take advantage though. Like I want the teams that I root for to take advantage, just because I might have a problem with how something is being handled in the sport or in college athletics. Doesn't mean like, well, I hate it so much that I don't want you to win. I want everybody to do it, but you to take that advantage, And so, yes, if that was a situation that was available and worked out, 100%. Pull the trigger. Make the team better. Win more games.
Agreed.
Really put me in a bad mood with that question.
Not bad.
You gotta warn me.
All right, one more non-con game for Texas Tech. That's Winthrop.
Yes. We're like Lose-Thrup.
We will,
after we're done with you.
We will do these episodes sparingly throughout the rest of the playoff run. But Red Red Recon Weekly will be a basketball podcast for the foreseeable future after the football season is wrapped. Of course, we'll still do plenty of transfer portal talk and otherwise, because more and more in today's college football world, it's a year-round opportunity to talk football. But we will talk much more basketball right here on Red Red Recon as we move forward. Of course, new episodes every week on Wednesday, except for this week. It's going to be Word of Christmas. I think you're listening to this Tuesday. Did we decide that?
I believe so.
Tuesday drop or Monday afternoon, whenever we publish this one.
You're watching it.
And then I believe we said Thursday for this week's Oregon preview.
Oh, I was just about to pitch to Friday.
Friday. We said Friday.
we'll see when we see it. No, yeah, football episode.
The 27th.
Football episode on Friday. We give you a full week to digest our incredible to very dumb thoughts.
Thursday's Christmas. Friday. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
We'll give you plenty of time to tell us where we were right, where we're wrong. You know what I hope? We've seen this some from time to time. I hope we have some Oregon fans when we get to that stumble across it.
Sure.
And not to like start a fight or anything, just to see their
I think
thoughts.
we'll be fairly complimentary of Oregon.
These Ducks suck. They're the worst team in the field. They can't run, they can't pass, they can't tackle.
Quit making me laugh.
You all right, man?
Yeah.
Hey,
I was over it.
You know how we're talking into these mics?
Huh?
Did you know we had these little mics here behind here?
Yeah, that's what I was using.
Oh, I thought you were pretending to talk into that.